every 20 minutes. It's your statewide Alabama weathercast.
Good afternoon, I'm meteorologist Drew McCombs with the Alabama Weather Network, and this is your afternoon statewide forecast update. And there's lots of sunshine and some scattered clouds across the state, but it's a pretty hot one out there this afternoon, but not too bad because the humidity, again, still not too bad compared to what it could be. Looking off to the west, you had a few dissipating showers in Mississippi. Some of that was related to some of those rain showers and thunderstorms that came through the northwestern corner of Alabama earlier this morning, but things have calmed down. But looking in the northeastern corner of the state right here, kind of an interesting little thing going on here. We've got some clouds that are sort of bubbling up and forming along the edge of Sand Mountain right next to the Tennessee River here in Jackson County. And if you look at the radar, you'll see you're actually seeing a few little showers forming right along Sand Mountain right here. And they're brief. They'll pop up and then kind of dissipate pretty quickly. But I think what we're seeing here is a little bit of a terrain enhancement where you get a little bit higher elevation and you get a little bit more lift. That's helping to produce a couple of showers, and it also helps that there's an upper level low not too far away to the east that's also going to help to enhance some chances of a few showers over the next day or so. So I think we're seeing a little bit of that there, which is pretty cool. And looking at the Huntsville sky cam, we're looking back off in that direction. So you see some of those scattered clouds over there. Maybe some of the taller cloud tops, there might be something associated with that, but still probably a little bit too far away, but still pretty cool to look at. And it's a beautiful view there. 83 degrees is the temperature, and dew points not too bad. It's feeling pretty comfortable at 57 degrees. Moving toward the south, we're looking from Hoover, looking towards the west from the Galleria Tower, and this is 87 degrees as far as the temperature is concerned, and just a few scattered clouds out there again. Warm day out there, and again, the dew point is looking pretty nice as well in Hoover. Down towards the south in Dozier, we're at 86 degrees there, and beautiful blue skies with those scattered clouds in place. So just again, each day is looking pretty similar here lately. And Fairhope, a few more clouds around maybe, but just a beautiful day looking across the bay. It's 86 degrees there. You can see not much of a breeze, maybe a little bit of one, but you see the flag is just kind of barely moving a little bit there in the foreground. And finally, looking at Dauphin Island, looking towards the south into the Gulf, it's looking good there, and it's 85 degrees with, again, the dew points in the upper 60s, so a little bit more moisture right there along the coast. All right, what we're watching for the rest of today and this week. Storms are going to remain pretty scarce, but we do expect a few here and there over the next day or so with that upper level low nearby. So again, some places will receive a little shower here and there, but most places still remain dry, especially in the southern part of the state. We expect the highs to get up into the low 90s through the weekend. Maybe some spots getting in the mid 90s occasionally. Morning lows will still be in the 60s though. Because of this drier air mass, the nights will be a little bit comfortable and wake up with fairly comfortable mornings, even though the afternoons will be pretty hot and a little bit above average. And that's what we're seeing right now is a fairly hot afternoon. We've got temperatures in the 90s across much of the state. It's 91 degrees in Selma. It's 92 in Thomasville. Looks like we've got 93 in Andalusia, which appears to be the warmest spot at this point. We've got a lot of those 90s even up in the Tennessee Valley, 90 degrees in Florence and in Huntsville as well. Forecast lows for tonight. So again, as we've got this slightly drier air mass in place, we'll see it fall down into the 60s, 62 in Alexander City. Could get close to the upper 50s in the southeast, 61 in Troy, 61 in Geneva, and then further to the west, more like mid 60s generally, and around 70 degrees down along the coast. Forecast highs for tomorrow, more of the same, lower 90s in a lot of spots, upper 80s as well. So again, we continue to kind of repeat the same story in the afternoon most days lately. Water vapor imagery here kind of shows the story. So we've got this is a surface low that's beginning to develop off the coast of the Carolinas. You see you've got some clouds that are developing along that and producing some rain along the east coast. There's also a circulation you can kind of see here in the water vapor imagery. This is actually the kind of mid upper level low that's associated with this surface low, but it's further to the west, and that's close enough to us that it could, like I mentioned earlier, influence us enough to produce a few extra showers, especially in the northeastern part of the state as we get into the rest of the day today and also into tomorrow as well. We've also got this little boundary up here to the west. This was kind of a backdoor cold front over the last day or so where you got some showers and thunderstorms forming along it. And again, there could be a few showers that kick off over in our direction related to that too. But again, anything that does happen, we mainly in the northern part of the state. As we take a look at our futurecast, we'll see that here. So as we get in the rest of the afternoon, again, maybe a sprinkle or two in a few spots, kind of like we saw earlier up there in the northeast corner. Don't expect to see as much of a chance of any sort of heavy rain overnight like we ended up seeing this morning up in the northwestern corner of the state. We expect to be a little bit quieter although there still could be a few showers. You can see a few of those showing up on the futurecast here. And then as we get into tomorrow afternoon and evening, maybe a few heavier downpours in spots, again, especially in those northeastern parts of the state, as you're closer to that upper level low, but you still could get a few there along the western edge as well. But you do see, though, looking along the south, that generally it stays a lot drier. A few scattered little sprinkles possible, but any chance of any sort of heavier downpours would be in the northern part of the state. And even with those should be pretty brief, and we're not expecting significant rainfall with that. As far as severe weather, we're not expecting any of that here, but you'll do note that up to the northwest of here in northwestern Mississippi and moving back into Arkansas and western Tennessee, this is a level 1 out of 5 marginal risk for today. That's just basically for potentially some small hail, maybe some gusty wind for any storms that form up that way, Memphis and points to the northwest. We expect that'll stay off to the west from us, but again, anything sneaks into the northwestern corner of the state, you could see, again, a few rumbles of thunder with that. As far as tropical weather, we continue to ramp up the chance for development with this wave here, which is now 92L. So a 90% chance of this developing over the next week as it moves through this red region right here. It's moving into a little bit more favorable environment, starting to look more organized. And good thing about it, though, is we expect as it moves that direction, eventually will curve off. And we are not expecting impacts from this at this point, especially not here in Alabama. Won't have to worry about that in the Gulf or up in Alabama. As far as the rainfall outlook, again, even though we might see a few scattered showers in a few spots over the next day or so, we don't expect significant rainfall in a widespread fashion at all. Looks like most places would be 1/10 of an inch or much less than that. So still not expecting significant rainfall through the next week or so. As we move into next week, though, however, do see that we expect maybe a little bit of an uptick in rain chances as the pattern starts to change a little bit. And so we'll hope to have a little bit better chance and a few more shots at getting some rain, although again, not looking like any sort of big rain event, but maybe just a little bit better chances than what we've seen here the last week or two. All right, here's your 7-day forecast for North Alabama. Again, very small chances of a few spotty showers over the next couple of days, maybe a rumble of thunder or two in some cases. We do kind of expect to sort of dry out in mid to late week as that upper level low moves off to the east. And then as we get into the weekend, rain chances do start to creep back up with an approaching front and an approaching upper level trough that will help enhance some chances just a little bit there. You can see those temperatures levels do go down a little bit, but not a whole lot as we get into the weekend. And for South Alabama, again, very low rain chances. We're still putting a 10% chance in there just for a potential stray shower, but vast majority of places in the southern half of the state will stay dry here for this week. Temperatures getting into the low 90s generally in the afternoons, and again, the mornings will not be too bad with lows down into the 60s. Well, that is your latest Alabama forecast update. We'll have another one later on this evening on the Alabama Weather Network.